Order in the court.
Once again, viewer discretion is advised. I have looked at articles and even listened to several videos. They're pronouncing this little girl's name either Battle or Batties. I'm going to stick with Batties because the majority of what I actually heard said Batties. If you even Google any of these articles, they will call her Battle. I'm going to stick with Batties for now. And I apologize to the family if this is the wrong name. Out of the Bronx, New York, unfortunately my hometown, on August 10th, 2021, for years, the paternal grandmother, Yolanda Davis, had tried to get custody. She told caseworkers that her granddaughter was being abused. It was a constant battle with Davis and Julissa's biological mother. She had the little girl in pediatric counseling to find out why every time she mentioned her biological mother's name, Julissa would cry in hysterics and run down the hallway. Julissa Batties, her father, with tears in his eyes, he said, quote, "I'm never going to get to see my daughter again, and that's something that I have to live with for the rest of my life," end quote. He talked about the pain and the suffering that his little girl went through and that nobody had did anything to help his baby. Unfortunately, Julius wasn't even allowed to be around his daughter because of domestic abuse claims that Julius says is false of Julissa's mother. He was heartbroken and he couldn't stop crying when finding out his daughter was no more. Quote, "I don't want to go back with mommy," end quote. There is an audio obtained by the New York Post. 7-year-old Julissa Batties would get anxious. She would get anxious when she had to visit her 36-year-old mother, Nevasia Jones. She never wanted to. She had spent some time in foster care, but I didn't see too many articles on that. But her paternal grandmother, Yolanda Davis, had her granddaughter since she was 5 days old. Jones had lost custody of her daughter at birth. Jones had actually lost custody over a period of time for all 7 of her children. Neighbors that lived at the J.P. Mitchell housing said that they would hear a lot of fighting going on in that apartment. Police had been called out several times. Now, at this time, there was only 3 children, the 17-year-old brother, Julissa, and her 3-year-old brother. The police had came because Julissa had a black eye. They lied. The mother would lie and say the 3-year-old had accidentally hit her in the eye with the water gun. Jones would cover up the actions for her 17-year-old son a lot. Neighbors would see the little girl wearing sunglasses trying to hide a black eye. Police came multiple times specifically for Julissa. None of the children, Julissa and the 3-year-old, was ever taken out of the home. The saddest part was the little girl hadn't even been living there that long. ACS, the city's Administration of Children's Services, allowed Julissa to stay with her mother during the pandemic and actually had given an extended visit. And this is what the paternal grandmother had said. They extended the visit. Why wasn't completely clear in anything that I researched currently. 911 responded to a call of an unconscious child. When they arrived, the child had no vital signs, no pulse. She was covered in bruises on her face, even bruises behind her ears and all over her body. She was transported to the Lincoln Hospital. Within an hour, Julissa was pronounced dead. Doctors had told police that Julissa had internal temperature of 96.6. She was so cold to the touch. She had been dead for quite some time. Her mother, Jones, and her brother, Paul Fine, would tell authorities that Julissa had fell down the stairs the previous day, and she had begun vomiting and urinating on herself and falling against various items inside the apartment, even hitting her head on a desk. Still, her mother had failed to give her medical attention, though they say all that was going on with the 7-year-old. The home where Julissa lived temporarily had become a house of horrors for her. Paul Fine, who is now 18 years old, would tell police when his mother left to go to the store at 5 a.m., he would punch Julissa in her face 8 times. He's 18 now, punching a 7-year-old, very small girl in her face, open-handed fist, 8 times, accusing her of taking his snack. All this is being done at 5 a.m. According to the DA office, between August 8th and August 10th of last year, Jones and Fine had repeatedly beat the little girl in that Bronx apartment. She'd also been sexually abused by her brother. An autopsy would reveal that the manner of Julissa's death was homicide. The cause of death was blunt force trauma to her abdomen. She was struck hard enough to make her internal organs tear and bleed, filling up her abdomen with blood. She had abdominal injuries that were old and new, multiple bruises on her wrists, upper thigh, and inside her mouth, and scratches all over this little girl's body. Investigators believed the sexual assault occurred while she was dying. Both have been charged with murder and manslaughter, and the brother sexual assault. Justice for Julissa. And my condolences to Yolanda Davis, her paternal grandmother, and Julissa's father, Julius. Horrible, horrible crime.